Welcome to the Pun Show. I'm your host, Macklen. Defund the police is starting to get some traction, but is still being resisted by whites. In order to get traction amidst white conditions in Vermont, we used to just put rock salt on the snow and throw sandbags in the trunk of the car. But how will we get enough sand and salt for a national defund the police movement? Simple. Sandbag the cops and take their assault. Tomorrow's Monday, so today must be Pun Day, June 14th. It's Flag Day. I pledge a cleanin' with this rag that I will use on the face of this area, and to the cupboard in which it stands, one station, under the sink, its streaks invisible, leave shimmering and dustless over all. Now it's time for my daily pontification. I want to go on record as unequivocally saying that all lives matter. St. Ives lotion products, the Christmas songs of Burl Ives, even the contraction for the words I have. All Ives matter. Now it's time for the pun of the day. I wish the Senate, unlike my wardrobe, was 0% cotton. Here to discuss race and gender in the American workplace, specifically the restaurant industry, please welcome food lover and world traveler, Chef Mahogany.
Some background on me is that I grew up in private schools, which were predominantly white, in fact, all white. And so I think I have also been trained to make white people feel comfortable around me because I had to survive and to get to those environments and to succeed. So subconsciously, I watch how I speak, and you can tell my tone and things like that, like it changes just to make people feel comfortable so we can get to the situation and I can continue on with my career because, I want to open up restaurants that have more people like me cooking the food and our interpretation of it. Black chefs have been, I think, overlooked as we were the chefs in the beginning centuries of this country. I mean, we were the ones who cooked the food in the slave houses and in the plantations. We were the ones who, made these fine dining dinners for these people to sit around the table and eat, but we cooked it all day. So I think that for me, it's really important that I make sure I represent well and make sure that I kind of squash some stereotypes. That also puts pressure on me to kind of watch how I conduct myself. So that's always a little awkward. Sometimes you just want to, put your tits out and just be you, but it can't always do that. So
when you find yourself working in a predominantly white kitchen versus a kitchen where there are people of color, how does that change the way you're able to go about your shift?
I worked at a restaurant called the Kingfish for about 3 or 4 years in Seattle. It was the first upscale Black Southern restaurant there, and they did fried chicken and ribs in the summer, and white people would stand outside in line because they would take reservations, and it would be like 100 white people standing in line at 5 o'clock to get in. The whole place would get sat 3 times a night, and I think that was the first time I really got to just be me in the kitchen. Like, we could make jokes and I didn't have to think about what I was saying. I could just be frank and I didn't have to edit my words. I think that I just obviously felt more comfortable there, and that's kind of where I really expanded more in food. And then I also realized that I wanted to elevate myself and do it more fine dining because I could see the potential of fine dining. If you look up a restaurant called June Baby, Eduardo Jordan, he's taken to the level that I want to see Southern food taken to, and that's kind of where this whole journey started with food. So I love working in a mixed environment, to be quite honest. I like it to be diverse. It doesn't have to be all Black and all white. It'd be great. It's best when it's mixed, and that's kind of what we got at Terra Plata, where it was a mix, and that was probably one of the environments where I expanded the most and got to really integrate some dishes that were considered Southern, but add some Mediterranean, touches to them, like fried green tomatoes, and just doing it in a more fine dining Mediterranean way and interpreting food in different ways, which is a really cool thing to learn and experience. And you won't get that experience unless you expand your horizons and get out of your comfort zone. One of my bosses used to say to me, "Get comfortable with the uncomfortable," and that's always stuck with me because that is something that I think in society, if we could all do, get comfortable with the uncomfortable, get comfortable with having that racial talk, get comfortable with having that talk about sexism, things of that nature. And once we can all get comfortable with that, it won't be so uncomfortable, So I think that's what I've taken from working in all Black kitchens, all white kitchens, and then working in a diverse kitchen that had Latino people, Asian people, Black people, white people, and we all came together in the food really worked, and you could tell in the fusion of it. So
I
that's
never really
why.
thought about it till just now, but food is like the perfect metaphor for diversity, right? Because not only do you diversify the industry and the workplace, but then like the product you're producing just gets better by default. It has to. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. My kitchen will be a diverse kitchen. I don't want it to be just one way. Although I do know that I feel comfortable, more comfortable in a all black kitchen. I know that we need to have it diverse, and it needs to be balanced. It can't just be all women. I mean, I love having all women kitchens. That's actually where I strive the most. But I also see the balance of having men and women in the kitchen, and it works. We all have our strengths, and we all have our weaknesses, and if we can work together, we can all be great. So that's.
I'm afraid of the answer to this question, but why do you prefer working in an all-women kitchen?
Women are far more detail oriented and they work clean, and they work more efficient because we have to work smarter, not harder, because we can't do some of the physical things men can do, and that's just facts. That's not me putting down women. I am one of the strongest women supporters. I don't want to say feminist. I just want to say I support women in general. But I just know that that's one of the things, and I know that I always garner a lot more respect when I'm in the kitchen, and I've seen other women not be able to get that respect either because the men are attracted to the women, and quite frankly, when men are attracted to you, the respect level in the kitchen kind of goes down. And I'm not saying they're not attracted to me either. I'm just saying I put off that vibe of don't fuck with me. Like, I'm here to cook. This is what I can do, and I can cook anything, and I can cook just as well as they can, and they know I can burn on the burners, and they know I won't. I've kind of got nerves of steel when it's in the kitchen. I'm very calm, and that's also what women bring to the kitchen is good calmness. And I don't necessarily have to yell to get across what I need done. So that's kind of why I prefer women kitchens. But and it's just an ease.
Obviously, as a society, we want to eradicate sexism and racism. What do you think the restaurant industry is closer to extinguishing?
Racism, sexism is still extremely alive, and it just comes from, like I said, that I come in with a very big voice. I rarely get. I'm really usually not that quiet in the kitchen unless I don't know, maybe I'm having an off day or something. But I can notice in the kitchen that where it's a shy woman, she might be very gifted, but if she doesn't speak up, she just lets this guys boss her around and take over her space where she was working. It's just those little microaggressions that keep adding up that just tell me that we have so much more work to do to make sure that women are respected and treated just as well as men in the kitchen.
What's the next big hurdle that your industry needs to conquer?
I mean, it's hard right now to kind of say that with COVID-19 because that has put a whole new wrench in things. I mean, Seattle alone, I think half the restaurants aren't going to reopen, which means half the people are out of jobs. And the thing about the restaurant industry is that was an industry that took people who couldn't get corporate jobs, who can't live in the tech world, who can't sit at a desk, who have a criminal record, are never going to get any type of government or type of job that I can get, like in a hotel and things like that, because you can't have a record. Um, that was their safe haven, and that was a way for them to make a living in a positive way and to possibly rise up to being chefs and things like that. You think of Killer Mike, the bread guy. The food is a safe haven for some people. So I am concerned about how restaurants will survive. I know I have a bright future in it, but it's not just about me. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to be opening up, helping a friend opening up a restaurant here soon in a few months. Um, but I think that the next really big hurdle, minus COVID-19, like if that wasn't involved, would be a more inclusive environment. And that means from the higher up, that means from writers, food editors. We have to get more diverse up there so that more people can be recognized. When you only have, no offense, and I really don't mean this as any offense, but when you only have like an old white guy judging food who maybe only wants it fine dining and refined and tweezers and things like that, you close the door for a lot of people. And that means that we know what I have to do to get into that door. I have to start doing the same food that those guys are doing that doesn't represent me. And I want to do the food that represents me. I consider myself a new American Southern chef. And what that means is that, yes, I might do a fried chicken dish, but the fried chicken might be marinated in soy sauce and gochujang. I do collard greens. Collard greens are one of my favorite dishes, but I also, once again, Use soy sauce. I use one time I did it with barbecued Chinese pork. So good. So I think that we just have to kind of start from up, different from starting below, because below is where everybody else is. We need to start from up high in the food world, and it's starting to change. Bon Appetit just fired, or he resigned. The head editor of that, he had put out a couple racist tweets and things of that nature, and he had records of being prejudiced and stuff of that nature. So he's finally out, and that's a big deal. Bon Appetit is one of those platforms that if you can get on there, you can be known worldwide and globally. So that's where we have to start, is from up top, to just get more people in the door. Just allow others to get in there and get their opinion out and to eat other food. Jonathan Gold, he was a great advocate of eating different type of foods, eating Middle Eastern foods, going to that little Indian place inside the shopping mall, and trying that place and then being amazed by the food that comes out of there. That's, we need more Jonathan Golds out there. We need more um, just people like me and open-minded people like you out there, willing to try something new, willing to be uncomfortable with the uncomfortable, and you know changing the world from that way with food. And I think we can.
Well, that wraps up another episode. I hope you'll join me tomorrow for an all new one. In the meantime, Chef Mahogany and I implore you to donate to Operation Sack Lunch, currently feeding thousands of people in the Seattle area. I'm Macklen MacLugie, and remember, revolution should never be comfortable. If you're comfortable right now, then everything's revolving around you.